Hello. Today we're going to be talking about women's rights. What a subject, a broad and a bit touchy one at that. A subject that is still continued in our culture today throughout history. The way women have lived and been treated in our country has changed in many ways, and today that's just what we're going to talk about. You know what they say, girls just want to have fundamental rights. Ha ha ha. Do 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 do. Okay, Cam, would you like to start us off?
Yes, I would.
All right.
Okay, ladies, let's start by getting you motivated to fight for what you want.
What you want, girl?
First, we have the Seneca Falls Convention in 1848. This was when women got together to discuss the social, civil, and religious condition and rights of women.
This was a very empowering moment for women as it counteracted the
whole women's rights movement.
Yeah, there we go.
Wait, I'm not done.
Oh, okay.
They had decided that enough was enough, and it was time to talk about how bad women were being treated. Yes, I say, it's about time we get a little brave and start standing up for ourselves.
Of course, this newfound sense of freedom, through protests and conventions, more started to pop up. You could look at the first event, Seneca Falls, as a fire starter in a way. The new liberated feeling that women now began possessing led to another important event, the first Women's Rights Convention on a national level. This convention took place on October 24, 1850 in Worcester, Massachusetts, and had a turnout of over 1,000 delegates from 11 different states. That's a pretty good considering this was the only second time a convention was actually in, progress. Thanks.
Women in Wyoming must have been jumping for joy when Wyoming passed the first women's rights suffrage law, which means that women could finally vote in Wyoming on December 10, 1869. This means big things for women even outside of Wyoming, because voting for women's rights could possibly spread to other parts of the United States, as you will see later on in this video.
For our next important event, we'll be learning about the first birth control.
Okay, great.
Sorry about that. We've got people
Tyree.
Okay, sorry about that again. Back to our next event. The first birth control clinic ever opened in America. It was opened on October 16, 1916, right in Brooklyn, New York. Now, this clinic was established by a woman named Margaret Sanger, who claimed that her inspiration for the clinic was a patient named Sadie Sachs, who became pregnant unintentionally and eventually died of septicemia 3 months after she had a self-induced abortion. Sanger, who connected deeply with Miss Sachs, was deeply troubled by this because when the desperate woman asked the doctor what she could do to prevent the pregnancy or any further pregnancies, he replied, "Oh, you want your cake? You want to have your cake and eat it too, do you? Well, it just can't be done." Just 10 days after the clinic was opened, it was shut down, and Sanger was arrested due to laws that prohibited giving out information about birth control. Only 6 years later, she founded the American Birth Control League, which eventually became Planned Parenthood Federation of America, and she was president of that organization until 1928. On to our next event.
Here comes a proud day in women's history that definitely has an impact on women's and men's lives today. On August 18, 1920, the 19th Amendment was passed. The 19th Amendment states, the right of the citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex. They said, this not only for the U.S. They said that this is not only for the U.S., but it's also for other states, which is just amazing.
And on to our next event. Okay, the next important event occurred of the year 1923, the Equal Rights Amendment. This amendment was proposed to Congress, and its purpose was to grant equality to women and men in the system of law. In order for this to be a law, the court needed one of two things: a 2/3 vote in the houses of Congress in the United States, or a vote of 2/3 of the legislature. This also would have required 3/4 of the U.S. to ratify it. It eventually did not even gain 2/3 vote to move into the states to be approved. Some of the
What'd you say? What'd you say? Right? Cam is gonna graduate.
Okay, sorry about that. Some of the points that women wanted to change included continued abortion and birth control right, lesbian rights, funding for daycares, equal work and pay opportunities, and attention brought about problems such as child and wife abuse, discrimination towards older women, and rape.
Our next event is when Jane Addams receives a Nobel Prize. In fact, she was the first American woman to receive one. She also founded the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom in 1919. She worked years after that to get power to disarm and conclude peace agreements. Now that right there is what I call a powerful woman. We could learn a few things from Jane Addams, like how to not be scared to step up and do something no one's ever done before.
Just kidding. You like our joke? Yeah. The actual first person to receive the Nobel Peace Prize was a lady named Marie Curie, who won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1903. She gained recognition for achievements in physics, specifically her discovery of radioactivity. Go Mary. She was working alongside her husband, Pierre Marie, and she also received another Nobel Peace Prize in chemistry in 1911. This was an important event to further empower women, give them a sense that they could amount to much more than just a housewife. This showed women that they weren't just dumb and insignificant compared to men, and that they could achieve great things. Moving on!
Okay. The Equal Pay Act of 1963 is a United States federal law amending the Fair Labor Standards Act, aimed at abolishing wage disparity based on sex. See gender pay gap. It was signed into law on June 10, 1963 by John F. Kennedy as part of his New Frontier program.
Alrighty. Whoa, the next event! In 1937, the first ever college for women opened up in Mount Holyoke, Massachusetts. This brought another wave of a sense of higher purpose for women all over the country. Women were highly limited to the amount of education that they could receive, and this was another eye-opener for women, that they would be much more and could do much more and have much more potential than just being a housewife. The sense of empowerment was something that women in this time needed greatly, and once they got a taste, more and more women started to join the effort for equal rights. On to the next event!
The FLSA establishes minimum wage, overtime pay, record keeping, and youth employment standards affecting employees in the private sector and in federal, state, and local government covered non-exempt workers are entitled to a minimum wage of not less than $7.25 per hour, effective July 24, 2009.
This was an important event because this brought men and women together in more ways than one. Now that men and women also got paid the same amount, this brought another newfound sense of equality. Okay, so today the last event we're going to review is that in 1969, California adopts the nation's first no-fault divorce law, allowing mutual consent divorce. Now, to begin with, this wasn't a thing. It used to just be if the man had a reason for getting divorced, that was it, and the woman had no say. But with this, brought another newfound sense of a different type of freedom and a different type of equality, because now women could get out of a situation that they didn't want to be in. This was not the case to begin with, and a lot of the times things like wife beating and things like that just happened. You couldn't escape out of it. It was just a thing. So this was a big deal in women's history. So yeah, that's it. Me and Cameron.
Thank you.
Women's rights. Have a blessed one. That's all, folks.
Thank you for watching.
What? Bye. Toodaloo.